Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Just trying to gobble down some dinner. Seven o'clock, let's call the meeting to order. Would you please call roll call attendance?
Yeah, Chair Van Kulen.
Present.
Vice Chair Scott.
Here.
Commissioner Grzan Parachi.
Here.
Commissioner Berman, not here. And Commissioner Lo Cicero.
Present.
All right, I'd like to declare the posting of the agenda. And do we have anybody that'd like to volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will.
Seeing none. Oh, Ron, thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. I was trying to follow you.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Is there anybody, how do you do in public comment on these Zoom meetings? Is it like a...
Yep. What I'll do is I'll let you know if there's anyone, and we can just tell people they can, if you're all participants, but as attendees, they can click on their, next to their name to raise their, or next to their mute button to raise their hand, and then we'll call them. We have no attendees on the call right now, so nobody's watching you.
Very good. Not unexpected.
We usually have one or two, including Mr. Muirhead, but not tonight, I guess.
Okay. Well, do you have a services director report, Mr. Gioni?
I'm only going to have a brief report because I have an item on the agenda to provide an update on Parks and Recreation as it relates to COVID. So I'll wait to that for talking through what we have going on in our Parks and Rec facilities. But I would like to note that the City Council at their last meeting did interviews for Parks and Rec commissioners, as well as Library, Culture, and Arts commissioners. And on their agenda for tomorrow night, there are recommendations to fill the vacant seats. So that will be the three seats that are up were Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Wendt, and Commissioner Seehafer, and only Commissioner Scott has reapplied. So the recommendation is from the council is to reappoint Commissioner Scott as well as two new commissioners, which would join us at our next meeting after this one, if appointed by council.
Great, thank you. May we have a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
Motion we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? So we've adopted the agenda. Let's move on to business item number 1. May we have a motion to approve the May 19th meeting minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
Please. Any discussion? None? All right. All in favor of approving the May 19th minutes, raise your hand or say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All those minutes are adopted. Number 2, updates on impacts of COVID-19 and related state and county orders to Parks and Recreation. Mr. Gioni.
Yeah, I'm going to try and share my screen, see if this works. Are you seeing the PowerPoint right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does that still look okay?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So what I wanted to do tonight is really go through kind of a brief presentation to kind of share how things are going and what we're doing in Parks and Recreation, what facilities are open, what aren't, what are some of the specific rules and regulations that we are following based on state and county orders and restrictions. And then just open it up for your questions. So actually just feel free to ask questions as we go through each area of the presentation. So I want to start with the Centennial Recreation Center. We were excited that on Monday, we were able to open up the CRC, which we closed on March 17th. When I say open up the CRC, we were able to open areas outside the CRC, not necessarily the CRC itself. But we've moved pretty much all of our fitness equipment outside, and we're using the large area outside the pool patio, as well as a big area of the parking lot. And I'll show you some pictures that we're doing there. What we are offering is an outdoor fitness center, outdoor cardio equipment, outdoor group exercise classes, and then through the entire COVID-19 shutdown, we've been offering senior lunch pickup. So we have kind of a drive-through lunch program where the seniors pick up, and that is still operating daily, Monday through Friday. Starts at 11:30. What's not available is our kids club, senior center, teen center, and basically any indoor spaces. So use of the gym, those sort of things aren't happening at CRC. So this is a picture of our outdoor fitness center. Kind of on the left side, you see kind of our strength equipment, Cybex equipment. On the right side, more the free weight type equipment. And then you can't really see it super well in this picture, but in the far back, we have a kind of group exercise studio. All separate.
I think you need to advance the slide.
Yeah, it's not going.
Oh, I may have lost connection. Is it going now?
No, it's just the main slide.
Uh-oh. Let me try and exit out of the share because it's moving for me and not for you.
We can still see your face.
And my face is moving. That's a key.
I'm moving too.
All right. Okay. Okay. How's that for you?
There we go.
And you see the whole slide. You aren't seeing the next slide thing, are you?
I am seeing the next slide too.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and swap that.
That's all right. I mean, it works.
I can fix that.
We like knowing what's going on.
No, I can't let the secrets out of the hat before they happen. So I just kind of walk through this slide on what's open in the CRC. So I talked through that. And then this is the picture I was talking about. So on the left side, you see that's our strength equipment. On the right side is the free weight equipment. And then in the far back that you can't see so well is the group exercise area, which we have specific mats that are cleaned after each class, and they're separated by a significant amount of space. So per regulations, as people are exercising, they actually can take off their face coverings. So what we have in the rules for what we've set forth is face coverings are required pretty much everywhere, except if you're on a specific piece of cardio equipment in the outdoor cardio area, or if you're taking the group exercise class. And in both of those areas, they're very, very much socially distanced, and we're doing complete disinfection of each area between uses. So that's how we're handling that. So this is just a closer view of the strength equipment. So we have a limitation on the number of people we're allowing to use a facility at once, as well as a limitate, which is at this point 50 people, and there's actually a lot of space. So according to the guidelines, we could have many, many more than that, but we're taking it slow. And also, we haven't had that many people show up in either day that's come at any specific time. So you can see every piece of equipment is spaced out where the workout station happens by more than 6 feet. And they're also trying to turn so no one's facing each other on any piece of equipment in there. One of the other things we do is we have a reservation systems for all the bookings. So, and it's on basically an hour on, and then a minimum of 15 minutes between groups. So you can only work out for an hour, then everyone's moved out and the next group can come in, and we clean in between. At different intervals, we actually go up to 30 minutes to do deeper cleanings depending on the area, and allow us to do maintenance. So it's pretty scheduled. And so if you come half an hour late for your workout, you're only getting a half-hour workout instead of an hour, because we have to keep the schedule.
It's a good excuse.
Yeah. So this is just a picture of the kind of the free weight area we've laid out. We actually got these mats that are working really well because we're able to mop them and clean them between uses with disinfectant, and the same thing with all the equipment. The free weight equipment that gets shared gets basically put back into a basket that then gets disinfected before the next person uses it. So it's kind of a complicated process. You can't see great in these pictures, but we have arrows on the ground that are showing you which way to walk in and out of each area as well, which is common. So this is the pool patio on the other side that has all the cardio equipment. We do have shade canopies that we're putting up depending on the time of day over each piece, but again, all 6 feet apart. And then say someone can use some of this cardio equipment. If they have elevated breathing, they can take their mask off on the equipment. However, with each of these pieces of equipment, basically once a person is off, basically a little placard goes there. It says no one can use it till it's been disinfected. That usually takes about 10 minutes on a piece of equipment, and it goes from there. This is just one of the entry check-in areas. So we've moved all our stuff in outdoors, and we basically wheel stuff outdoor every day from the fitness center. So our computers and the check-in screens there. So that's the recreation center. We have started out with only existing members being able to use, and new members that want to join, we're going to start them on August 1st. And that's primarily so we can manage the load of people coming in, because safety is the primary priority. So we got to make sure it works before we can add new people. And like I mentioned, we aren't getting a huge amount of people per hour. I think a lot of people are cautious in coming out, which makes total sense. And then we still are offering the virtual membership. And we'll continue to expand that virtual membership so people who choose not to come in can stay at home and do that. We have had a number of people continue to keep their membership on hold, as well as some people cancel us as we've reopened. But overall, not a significant portion. So that's a big plus for us. Questions on the CRC?
Have you got a question back yet? Oh, sorry.
I have a question. The question is, how has has COVID affected the income and expense attributed to the rec center?
Yeah, that's that great question, Commissioner Van Kulen. So for membership, it's a driver for revenue for the department, and we charge people monthly. Some people pay annually, but in March we stopped charging that. So we are beginning to charge everyone again for the offering. Of course, people can keep their membership on hold and not pay it, but we're excited to be able to start charging people again, because that's really important for us. We have lost in recreation revenues, probably close to $2 million in revenues coming in. Much of that offset by us not having basically all of our part-time staff were furloughed, which is a significant expense for us. And then all of our building systems were shut down as much as possible to any point that they wouldn't damage the facility. But since we have full-time staff, many of them were furloughed as well, but they were allowed to use their leave balances and go negative on their leave balances, which in turn means that they're still getting a paycheck and we're still paying them. So because of that full-time staff expense, there's still significant costs associated with it. And that will continue forward. That's why we kind of have to make some decisions going forward. So it's important that we got reopened.
What does that mean, negative on a leave balance?
So say I have 60 hours of vacation, mm-hmm. and I'm told I'm not going to be able to work. I can use that leave of vacation and my sick time. But when that leave runs out in normal situations, you get to zero, you stop getting paid.
Right.
The city across the board made a decision to allow people to go negative. So if I ran out of hours, but I was still not able to work, say I had 40 hours a week and I didn't work, but I had no leaves to use, my leave balance would go negative by 40 hours. And then when I get back to work, I would try and accrue that time back and wouldn't be able to take vacation or sick. Basically, you could take sick, but not vacation until you got that leave back, earned that leave back, which could take, depending on how negative you go, that could take years. And that means people would lose their vacation for future years, but they're getting paid now.
How does that work if an employee just decides to quit after they got a negative leave balance?
Then the city loses out.
What do you expect? What do you anticipate the dollar amount is of that that accrued liability?
None.
Oh,
Most people had significant leave balances, so I don't see that as a big liability.
cool. And what about the pool, the swim center?
Yeah, I'm going there next.
Okay, sorry.
So any other questions on the CRC?
I'm sorry, how long has it been opened under these circumstances?
2 days.
2 days.
This is our second day.
Any preliminary feedback or?
Yeah, so feedback from the members has been positive. It's been because it's pretty spaced out. From our team itself, like we have updated our procedures 30-fold since we opened, because all the things you think you know,
Right.
In reality, it changes by the minute. So we now have, I think, our recreation manager, Jenny Tucker, was telling me, I think like 7 different checklists for different roles and responsibilities that people are filling out, just because it takes that much to remind us of the things we have to do. And it's just difficult because we're still using our membership management software. We're trying to manage holds and everything, which are 10 times bigger than they'd normally be. And then we've implemented a software for the sign up for coming into use. So people are having to understand how to use that at the same time, trying to figure out their membership. So it's just, the admin piece is really big and confusing. And then the things we think that are going to work for the cleaning in the timing that we're doing, we're figuring out better ways by the minute to do that. So instead of using a swipper and a sprayer to do things, we're using a mop with disinfectant. And how do we clean those mops to make sure they stay clean? All those sort of things. So as we move forward, we're just quickly adjusting on the fly. And I think we're doing really, really well.
Your teams have like adequate PPE, and I mean, you feel like you've got that scoped out, to meet your needs.
Yeah, there's some things that I'd say the PPE is not an issue anymore based on what we're told we need to use, which is the same masks as anyone else is told. The pieces that we're getting by fine. It's just a lot of extra manpower until we get some equipment that's been back ordered, like some of the there's like foggers and things that we have a couple of. If we had a few more, we need less people to do all the cleaning work. But we just those things are back ordered across the country, but we expect to have some of that stuff in the next couple of weeks, which will help us a lot.
Question.
Congratulations on getting it open. That's impressive.
Yeah. Commissioner Cicero, yes.
What?
Did you have a question?
Craig.
Oh, no. You're going to talk about the aquatics program?
Yeah, I think Chair Van Kulen has another question.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you doing with regard to the bike thing? The bike or velodrome there, whatever you want to call it, or bike facility, and are you having the members who are using the facility outdoors sign any type of waivers?
No, so if you remember, probably a year and a half ago, we eliminated staffing at the skate park, and so we eliminated waivers at that point.
I'm talking about waivers for COVID.
Oh, you mean at the general facility or at the skate park?
At the general facility.
So our existing waiver is adequate to cover that, but if I show you, we have specific signage, and then we communicate, if I can find it.
That's okay, you can just tell me.
See the signage here, which communicates the risk to members. So there's about 20 of those signs, and they go over it when they check in to say, if you are at high risk, wearing the face mask, all those things that are required, those are included, but also that there's an inherent greater risk of being out in any group setting or in any program where there's more people during COVID-19. So we've done it that way, but there's not a specific change to the waiver. Pretty much our existing waivers, basically, that really, you've signed one. They're really restrictive, that basically say no matter what the city does, you're responsible for whatever happens to you in the facility.
Is the skate park open?
Yeah, the skate park is open.
Okay.
What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you. Oh, are you taking temperatures?
We are not taking temperatures for staff or people coming in. We are doing a full symptom check. There's different recommendations on if you should be doing temperatures or not, but we're not doing temperature check.
Thank you.
So I will move on to the Aquatic Center unless there's other questions. And I apologize, I don't have great pictures of the Aquatic Center because it really isn't as exciting anything outside the normal.
Put the one on that I sent you.
I can share that at the end of the meeting under, you can share that under reports. So at the Aquatic Center, we actually were able to open first. So we've been open the Aquatic Center for about 4 weeks now. That was because the county authorized outdoor pools to go forward. And so the county has, on each type of use, they have specific direction on what you can actually do exactly. And then the state has specific direction on what you can do. And whether it's the guidance they give you specifically for a specific item or the general rules for the general public, the stricter of the two rules in every situation. So it's really pretty confusing. But we take the time to analyze it and work through it, and we go from there. And many of you work in fields that that you're in the exact same scenario, whether it's construction or maintenance or other recreation providers. But so with the Aquatic Center, we are allowed to only do some really specific things. So we're doing lap swim. We're doing the swim team, which really basically follows all the same rules as a lap swim, aqua fitness classes, and private swim lessons. We are not doing recreation swim, any parties or summer swim activities or group swim lessons. And the rule for lap swim is 1 swimmer per lane. Unless you are in the same household, then you can share a lane. And that's the same for the swim teams. Limits, no interaction. Like your coaches can be on the deck and talking to you, but they can't hold like a team meeting or anything like that where you're getting together and having those conversations. The aqua fitness classes are based on space in the pool, and basically our instructional pool can only have 12 participants in there at once based on the space limitations. And then we can only do private lessons as you're only able to have contact with one person from another household. So those are the only things that we are allowed to do. We use the same screening process for people coming into the Aquatic Center as we do at the CRC. Actually, it was set at the Aquatic Center first. It's a little easier at the Aquatic Center. Everything's kind of set up for people to come in to the outdoor area versus the CRC. What is exciting about the Aquatic Center, we, as part of the membership for the CRC, because we have space in one of the picnic areas at the Aquatic Center with big shades, we're going to be starting group exercise classes over there next Monday. So one location at CRC, one at the Aquatic Center, and that's with the 100% intent to just space people out further. And so we'll be doing some of the classes over there starting on Monday. And that's what we got going on at the Aquatic Center. Questions on operations there?
I'd like to comment. My granddaughter's participating in the swim lessons, private lessons. The staff is outstanding. They are following all the rules. The teachers are in the water, but they make adults get in with the young kids, and it all seems to be working. When I was leaving Thursday, I walked out and I was taking part of my mask off because my sunglasses were fogged, and the young person at the counter said, "No, you got to keep your thing on." They're on it, so I want to commend them on that.
I have a question. How are they doing the private lessons? Are they instructing privately but having another adult do the demonstration, or having taught swim lessons myself, I know that there's oftentimes physical contact in order to demonstrate or show somebody how to do something. So yeah, how do they do it, especially with the younger kids?
Well, the younger kids have to have the adult in the water with them. So the family member is the one in the water with them.
I see.
So the instructors aren't, the physical contact
Okay.
is not there. And then the older kids who can swim, but they're learning form and stuff, they're just doing the demonstration and those things next to them.
I see. Okay.
All right, looks like I'm moving on. So those were the two exciting facilities. The Community and Cultural Center is closed. It's primarily an event gathering place. We do offer recreation classes, and I'll talk about those more. But we are not open there. And you know, as you all well know, Friday night music has not occurred. Major events, and there was discussion by the county of permitting indoor gatherings of up to 20 people, and then that was overruled by the state as we went on the list of counties at the state level. So then indoor uses aren't there. We are not anticipating opening until, you know, September, that sort of time frame. All the ongoing renters and one-time renters, we're basically looking a month and a half out, and they're canceling reservations based on the information we have. And then if people have reservations anytime through December, we're letting them reschedule those without any penalty or fee like that, just if they want to do that. Strangely enough, we are getting lots of requests. Can we book things? And we're booking things about 2 months out, but we're not going to be collecting dollars for that because we're not sure we're going to keep it. So we'd let people book, but let them know that unless things change, you're not going to be hosting an event there. And even if things do change, there's likely going to be so many regulations that you're not going to be able to have as many people as you think you're going to have inside. So it's just tough. The downtown splash water play area is closed. And as much as that is COVID, it's also the budget fallout from COVID that we're downsizing a bit. So that's not happening. We could have some, there's been the outdoor gathering piece has been under discussion. So the county is now permitting outdoor gatherings up to 60, but there's some conflict on what the state allows, and the state is more specific on what things can happen than the county. But there is a chance that people could book the amphitheater for events, but just based on the restrictions they would have to follow for the state, we don't have interest. So it's pretty much nothing's happening there. We've been hosting some COVID testing sites at City Hall. We may do one of those at the community center based on limitations of use at City Hall, but that's pretty much all that's going on there, unfortunately.
Is there a number, Chris, that defines small events? You said 60?
For outdoor, that's what the county's defined it as. Yeah, the state defines it differently, but the state doesn't allow just any type of events. It has to be particular events like religious gatherings, those sort of things. So they're kind of conflicting with each other.
Is anybody trying to reconcile that, or no interest?
Well, I don't know if they'd say reconcile. I think a lot of these things would be able to happen if the county gets off the state's list of counties that are on the watch list, right? So those counties that have no cases and are not on the list can do those outdoor gatherings to whatever the state level is. So if we got off the list tomorrow, which is not going to happen, we would be able to do outdoor gatherings of up to 60 people per the county. If the county had no guidelines, I believe we'd be able to do even more people than that. But that's what would happen if we got off the state's list.
Is there any way we can, as a separate city, can get off the list? Because we're certainly not geographically connected, so to speak, to the rest of Santa Clara County.
No,
we're geographically independent. And I don't know what our rates are for infection, but I would imagine they're pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, they have the list of numbers. I don't know. I haven't been looking at it lately. I don't know if we've got up to 200 yet. We were, I think, getting up to 170 last time I saw of documented cases. So I don't know that we're that much lower than
per capita basis.
Everyone else. Yeah, percentage wise. And we can't get off anyways. It's by county. We don't have a public health officer at the city. The county has a public health officer, and the state's only reviewing it by county, and all the reporting to the state level is done by county. So the outdoor sports center, I say it's open, but highly, highly, highly limited uses. So they've been able to do some camps in the very specific camp format that the county has outlined. And I won't go through all the detail of the regulations, but the main thing is you're in these what are called stable groups that stay together. So if you're in this program at a camp at the outdoor sports center, you can't be playing a sport with your school. You can't be going to a childcare activity. You're allowed to only do one. And then those groups aren't able to mix, right? So you can't be doing things with different kids on different days. It has to be the same kids. For sports and those activities, there's no contact at all. So they're all having to be social distance. So like if you're doing a soccer camp, you're doing a lot of drills, but no scrimmage. Same thing with a basketball camp. I think there's been some discussion of small gathering type events there, like a religious service using the bleachers. I don't know if any of those have come through yet, but that's what's being happening there right now. We did use the outdoor sports center as a staging area for CAL FIRE for the fire that occurred here. It worked out really, really well.
There was that too.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but what's not available, tournaments, games, anything else, contact sports, just not available. Questions, Sports Center?
Is their rent being forgiven, or how are you dealing with them?
So they don't have a rent. It's a, if you remember, it's a, they are, they manage the site, but they have all the expenses tied to it. So they've been helping to continue fund maintaining the fields and doing those things at a loss. So we have tried to help them through resources that we have to do some work for them. We've been working on a lot of stuff. The place is looking amazing. When we get it open, it's going to be great. But the MHOSC is funding management of the site through this, but we're definitely not collecting rent, and we're definitely we have that shared profit. We're definitely not getting any profit at the end of last year, and likely not this next year, because they're maintaining it without any significant source of revenue.
Thank you.
Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Oh, that's duplicate. So recreation programs, talked about this. We are running a few limited camps, primarily sports camps at Community Park, and under specific guidelines that I talked about with the stable groups. We are planning to potentially offer some tennis lessons and then outdoor sports pieces. Anything that is youth related has to go through the it falls under the camp guidelines. So even though it's a sport, which really becomes restrictive because kids can't do more than one at a time. So if someone chooses to put themselves in a rec class, they're not going to be able to participate in anything else. So it's really limited. And that goes, the high schools are doing the same thing, right? So if your kid plays a high school sport, they can go practice right now. But if they choose to practice with that high school sport, then they can't practice anywhere else. And all the practices, of course, are non-contact. But even the school summer sports are following the same stable group concept. We're not going to be starting our preschool program next month. And we're going to follow the lead of the school districts. There could be some discussion on our preschool, like following the child care guidelines and the camp guidelines, but we're not going to do that. We think it makes sense to follow the school district protocol, and we're going to try and keep you contact with people virtually, but we're not going to run the program on site. Ours really doesn't serve as a child care site because ours is recreation-based preschool. So the max the kids are in there are 2.5 hours. So it's not as if that would be a childcare option. And then all the indoor recreation programs are not happening at this time. Questions? Moving along. So parks. So our parks are open, lots of use in parks. The dog park, the skate park, tennis courts, and many other areas are open. What is still closed are playgrounds. The county order that came out recently was really interesting, and it said you could open your playgrounds, but anyone who used a playground was required to disinfect the area before their kids went and used the playground, which were like, who's going to do that? It's either going to be people choosing not to use it or people not doing that. But it doesn't matter too much because, as I mentioned, the stricter rule applies, and we still don't believe that the state guidelines allow us to open our playgrounds. So playgrounds are remaining closed. The sports equipment that require contact, so basketball hoops are still not up. We will likely move to put those up as the rules have changed to allow people to shoot baskets with their household and maintain 6 feet. But the fear is everyone will start playing basketball games, and we'll be taking them down the next week. So that's part of the issue with us moving forward to put those back up right away. Most picnic spaces aren't usable for bookings at this point, unless it falls under the religious service category with a limited number of people. And we've had like 1 or 2 uses that have used that provision. But other than that, picnic areas aren't open. And that concludes my presentation, and be happy to take any questions.
Questions?
How's your staff doing?
So our full-time staff is doing good, both with us and the YMCA, pretty much based on with the CRC and the Aquatic Center opening. We focused most of our energy into that. So all of our full-time staff is working, and they're all doing things that are different than their normal positions, which is hard and stressful, but I think everyone's grateful and happy to be working, including myself. So we're doing okay. We have a lot of our part-time teammates who have chosen some that we still can't bring back to work because of their specific jobs, but then we have others that have chosen that they just don't really want to come back to work under these circumstances, which is fine as well. But it has been really tough to not have our teammates there. Unemployment benefits, as you all have heard, are pretty good right now, so people are doing okay. But as we go forward, that'll continue to get tougher as well. But we're doing okay and across the city. I'd say people are feeling okay. Our team's doing amazing and getting things back open, doing a great job. I should say that because everyone is just working so hard.
Good, I'm sure.
All due to great leadership.
Make sure they know that we appreciate them showing up and really putting that extra effort to provide that to our residents. So if you can, Chris, kind of extend a big thank you on behalf of our commission, that'd be great.
I'll send them an email right now, and I'll copy you all too.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks for your hard work and great leadership. Really appreciate it. I know you're there all the time. Your wife tells me you're there all the time.
I appreciate that, Chair Van Kulen. One of my favorite moments from this week is that I showed up at I was at 5 a.m. at the CRC helping open the first day, and I had Debbie Vasquez, who helped me open the CRC in 2006 on the first day, and our maintenance specialist, Fred Gomez, who helped open on the first day, was there as well. And we had a few people, Andrea Nicoletti, who's the YMCA executive director. She was in the kids club at that time. So it was kind of cool to see a lot of our team from, 15 years ago, still there, ready to open. It just kind of turned out that a lot of us old timers were there at the first opening shift, which was fun.
That's great. All right, so does that conclude your presentation?
That does, and I will take it off the screen for you.
Thanks. All right, commission work plan updates. Does anybody have an update on their work plan?
I do.
Okay, Ron. Commissioner
the Magical Bridge Morgan Hill playground construction has begun. I go there every week and it gets better and better. I met Friday with Chris at the park and we went over a few things, and he thinks things are going swimmingly, so no harm, no foul.
Great.
Oh, one of the Magical Bridge Foundation came down and did a review of the park, Facebook with Chris and a gentleman from the city, and it's been pretty well received. I got a few people call me about it, so people are knowing that we're doing it. And Chris emphasized on his presentation, we're still looking for donations, and the donations will go towards improving the park, repairing the park, cleaning the park, because the city is not going to have a lot of funds. So if you know people that want to donate or you want to donate yourself, Chris is still looking for money. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Anybody else have any work plan update? Seeing none, I think that concludes our meeting. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to the agenda for our next meeting?
I just have a question. Have we done anything with the sand volleyball, Chris?
Yeah, so we presented that report to the commission at your last meeting. It was scheduled to go to the council to kind of review those reports and tell us to kind of keep moving, which would, the next step would be the master site plan for the property by the Outdoor Sports Center, Aquatic Center. And the council had a meeting that went till, I think, sometime past midnight, and they moved the item to tomorrow's agenda. But it is second on the agenda tomorrow, so I'm certain they'll have some discussion and review tomorrow.
No revenue generating items before that one, maybe?
yeah, exactly.
All right. Any announcements besides Ron's, or a question, comment? Future commission agenda items? Anybody have anything they want to put on next month's agenda? All right, hearing none, I think we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Oh, Chair Van Kulen, it's up to the commission, and the Library, Culture, and Arts Commission decided to go back to monthly meetings. So it's up to you all if you want to continue the bi-monthly meetings. I have not been putting update reports from our team like we normally do, just because we've been kind of focused on the COVID piece. And if you'd be okay with that, I'd like to continue that for a couple more months, and then we get back to the specific program area updates. But it'd be up to you if you want to meet in August or if you want to wait till September.
I'd be good waiting till September, but I'll leave it up to the rest of the commission. Ron, what do you think? September, okay with you?
September's okay with me.
Richard, what do you think?
I would agree. I think staff has a lot of things to focus on right now.
Maureen? All right. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks again for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thanks,
all
everybody, for appearing.
Yeah, for the support. We
Be
appreciate
well,
it.
everybody.
Thanks, team.
Meeting adjourned.
Bye.
Bye-bye.